Should have worn shorts.
Yeah, you're gonna bake in here. Isn't that like the second time you've done that? What are
Yeah.
you doing wearing leggings?
Because it's cold in my house.
It's 700 degrees here. Anytime you come here, just know that it will be 700 degrees.
I was also like, well, it's morning. I stopped and turned around and was like, I should go put on shorts. And then I was like, it's morning. It may not be that hot. And then I was like, oh yeah, we're on the fucking devil's asshole.
God damn!
My house is cold. Not to brag.
Must be nice. I'm so cold in all this heat.
There's just such a breeze.
My
comes right
AC,
off.
because we have like one of those Nest things or whatever, like one of them home smart thingies.
Mm-hmm.
But I have historically never signed up for the app or anything like that.
Yeah,
Lee
I'm not gonna
controls
pay
all.
for it.
Yeah, I'll text Lee and be like, "Can you turn down the thermostat or whatever?" But
What a dad. He's got full control.
oh yeah, 100%. And I don't even care. It's very convenient in my life, but the thing keeps like overriding some eco thing where it like it thinks it knows what temperatures you should run at what time in the day.
Oh, yeah.
For like optimal whatever. And
It thinks it knows what's best for me.
it thinks it knows, but it does not fucking know. And I don't know how to turn it off. And I figured it out one time, and none of us ever turn it on, allegedly.
Mm-hmm.
But my shit keeps shooting up to 77. Nobody panic. Everybody's like, that's not even that hot. I will suffocate in my house when it is 77 degrees inside my home, and then it's like 95 outside. That shit needs to be like 74. And then I'm like,
At
ooh,
least.
this is nice. Yeah, so it keeps like shooting itself up to 77 on its own. Every motherfucking day at like 3 o'clock, I start hyperventilating in my house. Because like also the sun shines on
Yeah.
one side, and we live in San Diego, so there's no insulation in any homes.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Fucking
it's
bakes
I
your house.
suffocate in my room, and I'll like wake up from a nap like,
It's like an easy bake oven in your room.
oh my God. Because it's 77 in the hallway where
Yeah.
the thermostat is, but it's like fucking 95 in my room.
But I'm touching outside walls over
Oh
here.
my God, it's awful.
Yeah.
You're just over there like, it's so cold, I have to wear pants in the morning. I slept with no blankets last night,
Oh my
and I was in
God.
a nightgown, so I didn't have any pants on.
Oh my God. We also sleep with an AC unit just in our room and
Yeah.
then like have the door mostly closed over. So it gets to like 40 degrees in our room. And
That's
then in the
my
morning, I'm like,
favorite.
oh, I'm so cold.
That is my favorite.
And then it
way to sleep.
defrost in the rest of the house. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so great to sleep like that.
Yeah,
Big old
yeah.
comfy blankets and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
It's perfect.
Oh my God, I was on top. My bed is still made. I just slept on top of it.
Oh God.
It's fucking hot.
Well, now that we have solar too, I'm like, fuck it.
Yeah,
run it,
100%. That's
always.
exactly what we do. That's why I run it all the time. Like, I have solar. It doesn't fucking matter.
We don't even have AC in our house. I don't have a point to that. I was going to
Other
say
than
something else.
your house is still cold without AC.
Yeah. It's got a good breeze and shit.
Yeah,
and
you're
it's
up
on
in
the
the
other side of the
mountains.
hill. Yeah. Like it's on the right side for fucking
Oh, yeah.
heat
Yeah. I'm like in the
temperature-wise.
desert zone.
Yeah. It's bad here.
But we moved
Oh.
here because it was cheap.
I
And then
saw
now it's
something-
getting expensive. I'm like, what the fuck?
I saw something recently that said that Americans set their AC to like what UK heat waves are. So like 77
really?
is like their
They're
hottest.
hot,
Yeah, and we're like, wow.
That's
this is a
nice.
cool breeze.
Yeah. Oh, my God. I would die. I'd freeze to death out there.
Yeah, right?
Oh, Jesus. Anyway, that has nothing to do with anything other than
No.
it's just we're talking about the weather.
Talking about the weather. We
Yeah.
haven't seen each other in a while. Feels
I
like.
know. It's been like 3 days.
Yeah.
That's probably longer than that. What's your goddamn?
Well, my goddamn is we had Panda Express yesterday, which comes with
Ooh.
fucking fortune cookies, right?
Yeah.
I hate fortune cookies. Give them to the kids. Kids both ate them, opened them, whatever. They were super excited. Baby girl can't read.
Yeah.
So she opened it, and I read it to her, and it was like, you will soon start a new and fulfilling career.
Oh.
And she was like, what does that mean? And I was like, baby girl, you're going to get a job. And she was like, oh.
I don't want that.
I kind of sat there with it for a second, like holding on to it, like, okay, that's something.
This is the worst news. This is awful news.
And then baby boy comes in, and he's like, I was like, what'd your fortune say? And he read it to me, and it was like, you know, when in need, you'll always have good friends by your side or something like that.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, oh, that's a really good one. And baby girl looks at him and goes, can we trade? I don't want a job. And I was like, fucking preach, girl.
Nobody wants a goddamn job. Not in this economy.
She looked so sad.
Aww.
4.
Yeah. Like, don't worry. These don't mean anything. totally not that relevant, but I had read that like people who work in Chinese fast food restaurants or whatever, they'll like, if you're mean to them, they'll crush your fortune cookie on purpose when they put it in the bag.
Ah, good. They should, you know?
I know. I'm like, do you know how many crushed fortune cookies I've had?
Oh, no. They just assume. They're like, she looks like
She
Sharon.
looks like a cunt.
She's probably going to fucking complain. I bet she doesn't even like Chinese food. You're like, no, I do.
Joke's on them. I always crush it anyway before I eat them because I never want them. And I eat one little bite of the cracker and then I go, okay, you can have the rest.
Yeah, I literally don't like them, so I give them to my kids. And then I had baby girls, and I showed her how to open it and stuff, and she was all pumped on that.
Yeah.
And then I was like, look, and then you can eat it. It's like a sugar cookie. And she licked it and was like, no.
Yeah.
I was like, well, then you won't get a job, so you're fine.
Yeah, if you don't eat it, it won't come
It's not going to come true.
That's funny. Oh,
Yeah.
God. You want to hear mine?
Yep.
It has to do with gophers again.
Ooh, oh no.
Oh, no. It's
Oh,
not as
no.
bad as the last gopher story. I don't think anything will ever top that
The
one.
one where it ended in your bed?
Yeah, for days.
Ooh.
Rotting. Yeah. If you didn't hear that one, guys, go back to one of them earlier episodes. Yeah, but this time it had to do with Chip. And I was sitting on the couch with Lee and we were just chilling. It was like towards the end of the day. Probably got dinner going or something, you know, but we're just kind of relaxing, unwinding. And I hear this dog yelp, like the saddest little yelp. And our dogs don't do that, right? But Lee and I had just dealt with the kids, all this other shit. Like, it's an exhausted sitting on the couch. Like, fuck.
Yeah.
What have we done with our lives? How did we end up here?
Yeah.
Let me just take a breather kind of moment.
Who decided we should even have dogs?
Yeah, what were we thinking? Why would we have kids in a house and jobs? And like,
No.
why would we life?
Who chose this?
What the fuck? And so we're just sitting there, the dog yelps, right? And I look at Lee like, that wasn't normal. And Lee's just like, I don't fucking know. So like, it stopped. I'm not going to check it out, right? Like, he's zero interest. And I'm sitting there with no interest as well. And then, you know, my fucking morals and ethics and everything get the better of me because I'm like, that sounded like a sad yelp. Like maybe the dog got hurt or something. And so I got up and I go, look, and Chip is out in the yard and she is honed in on something. And then she sits up and it's a full ass gopher, like alive and looking around and everything, but it's not running. So I'm guessing it's hurt, right?
Yeah.
Like, because they would run.
You would
right?
think.
I don't know. I don't know the details.
Was it like on the ground or?
It was on the ground in the grass, and Chip was like going after it, and it looked kind of wet.
Ugh.
But like it was alive. It was like sniffing the air and looking around. Like I was watching it just sitting there, but it wasn't running. So I'm like, it has to be injured.
Or rabid.
Something is wrong with it. Yeah. I don't want Chip to kill it. You know,
You don't want that on her conscience.
I just don't know what I want. Like I just doesn't feel like a good idea.
wish this wasn't happening right now.
Yeah, like, God damn it, I was just going to sit down on the couch.
Yeah.
So Lee calls Chip real mad, like, Chip, get over here, like yelling at her. And I'm like, hold up now. She catching them goddamn gophers. We've been waiting for this fucking moment. I've been wanting these dogs to do it. So I'm like, well, like, you know, egg her on. And so I'm like, good girl, like loving on her, whatever. And she's like, like loving it, right? Like, fuck yeah, I caught that gopher. That gopher is still in the middle of the yard, standing up, looking around. Like, it has not run away or anything. And I look at Lee like, you know what you must do. Like, this issue is yours now.
I don't know, man. Go get a golf club or something.
And he grabbed a shovel. And I said, is it hurt? Like, is it going to die? And he goes, I don't know. Because he didn't look at it either. We're both seeing the same thing, right? And I'm wondering what's his plan.
You're just going to scoop it and chuck it over the fence?
That's what he said. I'm just going to throw it over the fence. And I was like, well, is it injured? And he goes, I don't know. And I'm like, do you think you need to whack it? Like, put it out of its misery? Like, don't let this thing suffer over the fence. You're just going to chuck it and it's going to die slowly.
No, Stacey, you're going to chuck it over the fence and it's going to make a hole somewhere over there in a new family and go live over there happily.
Maybe because I did not inspect close enough to see how injured this gopher was. But as soon as I said that, Lee was like, well, don't watch me. Like, that's all it took. And so I didn't. I was like, I don't need to see your murderous rage. And so I turned back and went into the house because I don't want to watch that. I don't want him to kill it. I don't. Even though I hate the gophers and I kill them anyway, like, I don't. My brother used to have to beat rats with a stick whenever his snakes wouldn't eat them.
Fucking Charlie Day?
Yeah, and I'm like, that's too much already. I was like, my brother's a fucking monster. I don't know. It explains a lot about my childhood and all the trauma I have, though, okay?
Yeah.
I grew up in the fucking sticks.
I guess I probably would have gone with like a bag and a stomp situation.
Maybe. My brother was like, I got a fucking stick from the tree and we're going to take, because he was like, I had to do the right thing. Like, this mouse was going to die in there. Like, I'm not feeding it. It's not my pet. And
so you're just going to beat it to death?
Yeah, and he didn't want to let it go. This is all I know. I'm horrified also. But now I'm like, this is the way, right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
This is what we do with rodents.
This is how you live with snakes.
That's what I was taught. And so I said it to Lee. Lee didn't even bat an eye. He's like, I'm on it. Don't watch me. And I'm like, I'm so lucky to have such a strong and brave husband. And then he comes inside and he is squirming. He is squirming and his hand is out like it's got something on it. And I'm like, what happened? And he goes, I hit it. and it exploded onto my leg, like something shot out, like its head. I don't know what body part flung at Lee, but it sprayed all over his leg. And I think he had scooped up parts and like probably had a plastic bag or something, but that's
Why did it explode?
I don't know.
How fucking hard did he hit it?
Hard enough to make its head fly off and hit his leg. I don't know, but Lee would not stop, and he walked up to me and he like hit my leg, and he's like, it felt like this, like that's how hard it hit me. Like he was traumatized, and I was like, oh no, what?
You told me to go inside for a fucking reason.
Oh my God, yeah. Yeah, it exploded. He had pieces to pick up. I was like, was it injured? He goes, I don't know.
It is now.
Yeah, it's gone. He's a goner.
It's gone.
So,
it's just gone.
That gopher was like the size of a guinea pig. Like that was almost the size of a rabbit.
Yeah,
like they're big.
They're huge. I can't believe it exploded.
I can't believe you really hit it with a shovel.
How fucking hard did he hit it?
I mean, if you're going in to hit it, you can't like
No,
pull back.
for sure. I get it, but to explode it?
I don't know.
That's fucking crazy.
I don't know. I didn't ask for any more details, but I was like, I can't with these gophers in my life.
So Lee's got some rage, huh?
I think that I'm going to start trapping them and like putting them down gently because I feel so bad.
I think I'm going to start not having exploded fucking gopher pieces on my yard.
I'm going to put them down gently with like some fucking Ambien or something, and then I'm going to skin them and make like a gopher purse out of them. Right?
That's a great idea.
Right?
Like a belt.
I'm
just,
killing
like,
them
their heads.
anyway. I might as well get something out of it, and then I could kill them a little gentler. Okay.
Wrap it up.
Do you guys want to hear about murder today?
I do.
That isn't the almost assassination attempt on Trump's life?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to tear you.
Tear me all about it.
I'm going to tear you all about Sherri Rasmussen. Nope. I said it really fast like I knew I was going to.
Rasmussen?
Yeah.
Why do I know that?
I don't know. Rasmussen.
Sherri Rasmussen.
Maybe you know this person.
All right.
I'm going to tell you about Sherri
Did
Rasmussen.
she die?
Okay, so Sherri Rasmussen.
Okay.
She was born February 7th, 1957, and that's all I have about the before times.
February 7th. Good day. My cat was born February 8th.
That's weird. Why do some people know the birthdays of their animals so
It's the only one. And Carl is the same day as my dad.
See, you do know too.
That's half.
Yeah.
Half of my pets I know.
Lee knows the birthday of all of the pets, and I'm like, what? Even now, I feel like Chell's maybe like March. I'm just guessing. I'm totally guessing.
She feels like a March
She
girl.
looks like a March dog. Yeah, I don't fucking know.
What is she, a little Scorpio?
The
I don't know.
worst dog because I don't. It's not like they were birthed in my house and I marked the calendar.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so jump to the year. So we're getting right into it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Jump to the year 1986, and Sherri is 29, and she lives in Los Angeles, California.
Ooh, girl moved out to Hollywood.
Yeah, she did. She had attended Loma Linda University and graduated to become a critical care nurse.
Okay.
So she's got a very admirable job.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
By this point in her life, Sherri had excelled up the ranks within her medical center, and she was actively working as the director of motherfucking nursing.
Damn, girl.
She was directing them nurses.
20-9?
Yeah.
Look at her go.
I know. It was around this time in her life that she met a man who she fancied,
Ooh.
and his name was John Rutan.
Okay. John Rutan. Oh, Rooter.
Rutan. You know how they say, like, in California they don't pronounce T's or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
That just proved that right there.
I notice it all the time.
Oh, my God. Now, a bit about John.
Mm-hmm.
He actually was originally from San Diego, but he moved to LA to complete his undergraduate at the University of California, Los Angeles.
Okay.
And he was aiming to get his degree in mechanical engineering.
Ooh.
So another smart, intelligent fellow.
Yeah.
Turns out, in his earlier college years, prior to meeting Sherri, he was dating a woman by the name of Stephanie Lazarus, who was a fellow UCLA student who was attending the university.
Okay. Lazarus?
Lazarus. Do you know that person too? Do you
No,
know everybody?
I don't. I was just thinking if that was my last name, I'd go by Lazarus.
Maybe. I
Not
don't know.
Lazarus.
I was going with like Bob Lazar, you know?
Oh,
So
yeah.
I just added us at the end. All right. Anyway, so Stephanie, she was studying to be a police officer, and the couple would often hang out and hook up. So they weren't like actually dating, like boyfriend and girlfriend. They
Friends
were
with
like
benefits.
friends with benefits. Exactly.
Okay.
John never took the relationship super seriously, and he looked at Stephanie more as a friend with benefits sort of scenario. But Stephanie was like, head over heels obsessed with John.
Uh-oh.
So not a good combination.
No.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I guess she would stay the night at his place and would take pictures of John in his underwear while he slept without him knowing.
That's so creepy.
She's a creep.
Yeah.
She would also steal his clothes when he would shower, but, like, I don't know if that means that, like, he would have them all laid out and she'd be like, ha ha ha, and, like, run away with them so that he'd have to be naked, or if it's, like, while he was showering, she'd just, like, pocket a t-shirt. Like, I don't know why.
Like, this is for me later. Or
Yeah.
like, haha, now you have to come out here naked.
I don't know which one.
Yeah.
I don't know which scenario, but, like, pretty cunty move. Stop stealing clothes.
I mean, on one hand, it's probably like I just stole your clothes and now you have to come out of the shower naked because, like, she really liked him, right?
Yeah,
so it's like
yeah.
a hee
He has your
flirty
dick.
thing, maybe.
Yeah.
But I'd like to believe
She's like, I really like this t-shirt.
she's out here pocketing socks.
She's like wearing his boxers to bed and
Yeah.
smelling the butt crack.
Sometimes I put your clothes on under my
I
clothes.
pretend to wear your skin. And he was like, cool, 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 cool. Anyway, I'm going to stick my dick in crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what he did.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he would be annoyed about the clothes or anything either, but she's got like a giant lady boner for John.
Okay.
All during their, quote, relationship, it was obvious that Stephanie was more of the clingy one and she was all about John, and John was actively dating other women. But,
my
like,
God.
I don't know if she knew that he was actively dating other women. Because, like I said, they weren't a couple. He was just hooking up with her. But he would still go out and, like, go on dates and shit.
You know how sometimes people say, like, we weren't a couple. But, like, did she think they were?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if she knew or not.
Yeah, because what if he's over there like, and she, like, legitimately thinks they're together? Or
Yeah.
is she just crazy and is like, no, I know he says we're open, but, like, I'm just going to ignore that, you know?
Yeah, but, like, he loves me. I was here first. Maybe. Who knows?
It's not a good start.
Not a good start at all. So, at this point in John's life, he's working as a hard drive manufacturer, and he's really interested in Sherri, okay?
Yeah.
Enter our girl Sherri. This is around the time that John and Sherri start to take an interest in each other, so this is like the first time that Stephanie's going to have to deal with another woman in John's life, because for the first time, John actually really likes Sherri.
Uh-oh.
And at this point in his life, he's working as a hard drive manufacturer, and he is like, this girl is like marriage material. You know, like, I have my career, now I'm ready to get my wife.
And he's going to be breaking it off with old Stephanie over here.
Steffi, yeah. So meanwhile, he's still kind of dating Stephanie on the side, on and off, who claims to be like madly in love with him, and he's trying to shake her, but like in a gentle way. Like,
Trying
he's
to
not-
shake her. No, he's
yeah,
not.
He's not
a
trying
dude.
hard.
Yeah. Oh, one last time is cool.
Yeah, but he's not like taking her to movie dates and shit. It's
Yeah.
like calling up in the middle of the night, hook up sort of thing.
That's still not how you fucking
No,
break up
no.
with someone, but okay.
No, he did a very soft breakup, shall we call it?
Yeah.
So obviously, homegirl is like not picking up the clues though, because at one point on John's 25th birthday,
God damn, he's young.
I know, Stephanie threw him a surprise birthday party, totally unaware that he was like
Breaking up with her?
actively dating Sherri at the time.
Oh, God.
Yeah, and I think it was shortly after that John confided in her that he was seeing Sherri and that he was really falling in love with her. So like Stephanie needed to back off, and he was not interested in Stephanie.
Yeah.
Well, Stephanie didn't like that.
No.
And she became very hopeless and depressed about the whole John relationship thing. She wrote to John's mother, wrote a
Ooh.
letter.
Longhand?
Yeah, I guess. And was like talking about how upset she was that John was in love with another woman, and how she was supposed to be with John and she was so in love with John. Like John's mom. Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't know if John's mom ever replied, but as time passes, John and Sherri become engaged and they plan to marry.
Mm-hmm.
When Stephanie caught wind of the engagement news, she became very defeated and wrote in her journal about how she didn't understand his decision and that she was depressed about it all and that she didn't even have the energy to get up and go to work. So,
Oh, wow.
like, she's taken this real hard. Now, at this point, Stephanie had been accepted to the LA Police Academy and was a uniformed LAPD officer.
Oh, okay.
I know. I suppose Stephanie kept in touch with John and like suppressed her heartbreak because sometime in the second half of 1985, Stephanie visited John at his condo and the pair had sex for the last time. For the last time. This is the last time I'm going to bone you with my dick. All right, crazy?
What a fucking dick.
I know. Okay, so he's like, this is the last time I'm going to have sex with you. And
For
it's
old time's sake.
exactly.
Blech.
John later explains that he did it to give Stephanie, quote, closure and to keep her from continuing to bother him and Sherri. That's John's side of the story.
Listen.
Yeah.
You wouldn't understand.
She really needs a dick. One more time.
We had a connection, and, like, she just wouldn't be normal without my dick.
Yeah, so, like, it would be rude of me to not, like, give it to her one more time.
Calms her down, you know? And then she can really think clearly, because my dick is just so powerful.
She was, like, getting manic and shit back there. So,
Yeah.
like, what's a man to do?
like, I just use my dick medicine. Fuck.
Oh, no!
Got him.
Oh, no. Oh, God. Okay, so, anyway, they have sex for the last time so that Stephanie can have some closure.
Yeah.
And,
This is more like opener.
I don't think that Sherri is, like, aware that they're boning or anything, but she knows about Stephanie.
Like, she knows that she existed.
Oh, yeah. She knows Stephanie's around and Stephanie's doing weird shit because Stephanie threw that party and she was like, what the fuck?
And she's like, aren't we?
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
why is she throwing you a party? That's kind of weird.
That's a lot.
And the whole time, John is like, just ignore her. I stuck my dick in crazy before you got here, and
Don't
I
worry.
regret that.
I capped her off.
I gave her my special dick juice medicine.
She should be
Sorry.
feeling better anytime now.
Yeah. This should stave her off for a day or two. I don't fucking know what his plan was, but
It takes
it's
about 20 minutes for it to penetrate her bloodstream.
like, to reach her cervix. But he's like, you don't have to worry about her. I only have eyes for you.
Yeah, yeah.
right?
He's like, don't worry, I took care of her.
Even though he just slept with her, but okay.
Yeah.
Okay, John.
Yeah.
However, Sherri noticed that some odd occurrences were still happening between Stephanie and John.
Mm-hmm.
For example, Sherri moved into John's condo together while they were engaged, and Stephanie stopped by a few times unannounced.
Mm-hmm.
One time, she showed up in a super tight athletic clothing. That hussy.
I mean, that's my everyday wear.
I know, right? But she showed up like in super tight clothing and she had her skis with her. And she was asking John if he would wax her skis for her.
Baby, I'll wax your skis.
I know. And I guess John was like, okay, I'll do it. Like,
What?
I don't know.
Why would you say yes to that?
I don't know.
First of all, bitch, take out your own trash. I'm not going to do your chores for
no
you.
way. Well, I guess at first he was like, you need to leave me alone. But like, he's got a soft spot in his heart for this chick for some reason. And he takes
skis.
the skis. Yeah. And he waxes them for her.
He's like, she can't possibly rub her hand up and down this ski fucking
With this candle. Like,
Yeah.
what do you want?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
so hard.
Oh my God.
Need
Could
a
you
man to do
imagine? Yeah, this man with dick medicine. God's gift to this world. I love how we're hating on John all of a sudden.
Well, it's because he's a fucking cheater. And
Oh, God.
I hate
I'd
a
be
cheater, you know?
So jealous. Like, if chicks started showing up from Lee's past and they were like, could you just wax these skis?
Oh,
I'd be like,
100%.
no, he can't, bitch. You can, though. Like, I didn't even like it one time we went camping. One time. I've only seen this girl this one other time.
I need to know who this is.
You probably already do. And I've actually talked about her to all of our friends, and they're like, she's actually really nice. So I literally have only had this one interaction with this chick, and we were camping. Lee was like making burgers, and we didn't have a spatula, and so he's flipping the burgers with a credit card. And they were like the frozen burgers, you know, because we were like 18.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, ew, mine has bubbles. Can you scrape my bubbles off? And I was like, first of all, you rich bitch. Like, they have bubbles because they're fucking wet on the inside because they're frozen patties. Second of all, homie's flipping your burger with a credit card. No,
What do you
he
mean
can't.
scrape it off?
Yeah.
You can pop out a credit card and scrape them off yourself.
I literally said out loud, well, you could scrape it yourself. And I was just like, fucking hated her. And I don't even know her that much. And I've talked so much shit about her. And not so much, just
Yeah.
like, oh, fuck her. She's a little bitch. And everybody's like, she's actually really cool. So
Hater.
someday, if I ever
Hater.
meet her. Yeah,
I think I only met her a couple of times too.
Yeah.
So I actually don't know anything about her other than she was another girl in the group
Yeah.
and we were girls. And
Yeah.
so gotta fucking hate her. At least in the beginning until you're like, oh yeah, she is cool.
Well, here's the thing, though. It's because girls are just mean to each other.
They're
Like,
so mean.
I feel like I'm so nice, and everybody's always mean to me first, and I
Yeah.
just have to grit through the mean phase until they're like, you know, I hated you when I first met you, and I actually really like you. And I'm like, yeah, you guys are all bitches.
Yeah.
Like, you
Girls
hate
are
me because
so
I'm nice.
fucking mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's because you're nice and you're pretty and something.
That's fucking what I mean.
threat.
You show up with mascara on, and they're like, this bitch is trying to take my guy, and you're like, this guy?
him?
I know what happened to him. I know his dick drips.
I've heard the stories. You probably don't even want him.
This has gone
off the fucking rails. I don't even know what we're talking about anymore.
I don't either.
Okay, that was a total side tangent.
This bitch came over to wax her skis at John's house.
That's right.
And John, being the idiot, was like, fuck yeah, baby girl, I'll wax your skis. Get over here.
And then Sherri
was just like, the fuck?
Wax my skis first, bitch.
Yeah,
you never
my
wax
skis
my
need some
skis.
waxing.
Mm-hmm.
So he waxed her skis. Obviously, Sherri was like, I don't like her stopping by unannounced and like you doing favors for her and stuff. And I thought you broke things off. And John kept reassuring her that he has and that Stephanie is pushing the boundaries, so to speak, and to just continue to like pay her no mind. Like she's pushing the boundaries. I've already talked to her. I know. Kind of thing. And Sherri
and
was
so
just
she was like, yeah, you shouldn't continue on then because you're allowing her to push those boundaries.
Yeah, like she just took her fucking skis.
Hardline it, bitch.
So a few days later, when John was at work, Stephanie stopped by the condo when Sherri was at home because Stephanie needed to pick up her skis.
Okay.
When she showed up, she was in uniform because she's an LAPD officer. She was fully armed because she was a police officer. And this really made Sherri uneasy. And she started to plea with John to have a talk with Stephanie and tell her to stop bothering them. Because now she's starting to like, I know this girl doesn't like me and that she likes you and she's an officer. This is getting a little creepy. She's showing up unannounced. Tell her to leave me alone.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Yeah,
And
again.
showing up unannounced at my house is just such a fucking...
Oh, could you imagine this day and age?
No.
I wouldn't answer the door. I'd pretend like I wasn't home.
I wouldn't have answered then either, but
Yeah. I'm like, fuck your skis. Looks like
Look
you
at
gotta wait
you through
till
the
John
window.
gets home.
Yeah, I don't know where they are. House is so big.
I know.
Condo. The condo's
They're like
so
sitting
big.
right by the door.
Can't find them.
These skis don't look like they're waxed yet.
Those I think are mine.
They're mine now, bitch.
Yeah, they're in my house.
Oh, God. At one point, Stephanie showed up at Sherri's work and proceeded to tell her that things were not over between her and John and that they were still together.
Okay.
Like, and he just fucked me last week. You know, kind of thing.
First of all, what the fuck?
Yeah. She told Sherri, allegedly, that if she couldn't have John, that nobody could. So it's going great. And despite crazy...
It's going great.
Yeah. Despite, like, crazy Stephanie's attempts to break up John and Sherri, the couple proceed with their wedding.
Wow.
And they get married in November of 1985.
Okay.
Meanwhile, Sherri is confiding in her friends and family about Stephanie and how she fears for her safety and that she believed that Stephanie was actively stalking her on the streets and stuff.
Oh, wow.
Like, she's showing up at my work, she's coming by my house and stuff, and she's an officer. I don't feel comfortable with this.
Yeah, that'd be so scary.
Oh my God, it'd be terrifying. Then, on the morning of February 24th, 1986, John left the couple's condo to go to work. Sherri was scheduled to give a motivational speech at work that morning, but I guess she wasn't feeling very motivational and she was trying to get out of it, so she was going to call in sick.
Oh, wow.
She was doing something and she had actually genuinely injured her back and she was going to use that as an excuse to not go to work.
Yeah.
And John knew this when he left in the morning, like, okay, she's going to call out sick. At 9:45 a.m., a neighbor noticed that Sherri and John's garage door had been left open and that the BMW that Sherri drove, which was actually a gift from John, okay, John, it wasn't in the garage. And so they were like, that's interesting. And then at 10 a.m., John attempted to call Sherri at home several times, but he never got a response. And then her sister also attempted to call and never got a response either. Then at noon, two men who looked to be gardeners at the complex, the condo complex, gave Sherri's neighbor a purse that they had found nearby, and that purse turned out to be Sherri's purse.
Uh-oh.
A maid who was cleaning a unit near Sherri's says that at around 12:30, she heard what seemed to be two people fighting and then something falling. And that would have been 12:30 in the afternoon, though.
Okay.
So, like, after
It's like
she
later,
already isn't answering phone calls and stuff.
Yeah.
I guess despite all of these red flags, nobody contacted another person to realize, like, to connect the dots, you know? Like, John just called a couple times and she didn't answer, so he's like, oh, she must be busy. The sister called, she didn't answer, she must be busy.
Oh,
the
no.
neighbor got the person, was like, that's kind of weird. And then later they found out that a maid had heard a ruckus. Okay,
Yeah.
so, like, nobody's connecting any dots yet.
Nobody knows. Yeah.
Right.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's so scary.
I know. So then John gets off of work at the end of the day and he gets home and he sees that his garage door is open and that the BMW is missing. And he also noticed that there was like glass in the driveway and he immediately thought that it was strange and that Sherri wasn't home. Like, he thought it was strange that she wasn't home because he
She was
knew
gonna call
she was
out.
going to be home. Yeah. And it's like the end of the day, and she didn't have plans to go anywhere else or anything, so he started to get a little nervous. And as he walks into the condo, I don't know how or why or what order this happened in, so I'm just going to mention it here. But he notices that the answering machine to the phone was not on. And that's like one of the things that the couples always did when they left was like turn the answering machine on because it's the 80s. And you have to flip that switch.
Why would it be off?
When you come home, you turn it off so that you can get the phone when it rings. Like, you don't have to rush to get it.
Oh.
I know you guys always used your answering machine to literally answer your phone.
No. Yeah, I know that was fucking weird. But I thought it would ring like 4 times and then answer.
Yeah, but like if you're on the other side of the house, you want more than 4 rings, so you turn it off when you're home. And then you turn it on when you leave. Some people did that.
Never once. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, not everyone. Some people
But he's like, that shit's off.
Yeah, he's like, that's off. That's weird. See, another proof
She is home.
that she wasn't planning to leave.
Yeah.
As he entered the living room, he found Sherri laying on the floor of her living room with 3 gunshot wounds. And he obviously calls the police.
Who the fuck didn't
Hear
3
gunshots?
gunshot wounds? Also, wasn't her garage door open that entire time? No one was like, hey, John, your garage door's open.
Like, hey, I guess not throughout the day. Like, a neighbor noticed it. And was like, oh, they forgot to close the door. And that was it.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
So you couldn't text people in 1986.
I know. Isn't that crazy?
Your garage is open. I'm not going to call for that, but like,
honestly.
just so you know.
Just so you're aware.
Yeah.
The living room was in disarray, and it was clear that there had been a struggle in the home. I'm talking there was like furniture flipped and shit was broken. Like, it was a struggle.
Mm-hmm.
They found a bloody handprint next to the home's security system panic button.
Oh, no.
That was her bloody handprint, by the way.
Sherri's?
That was Sherri's.
That's so
like,
fucking
she
sad.
almost hit the panic button, but she didn't get to it.
Oh, I hate that. I hate that so fucking much.
I know. There was evidence to suggest that someone had attempted to bind her at some point.
Oh, my God.
They found a quilt which had been used by Sherri's killers to muffle the sound of the gunshots, kind of like as a silencer.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it had like been shot through or whatever.
Yep, exactly. She had been shot once in her heart, once in her back, and once again in her chest. She had defensive wounds all over her and a bruise on her face that looked to have been inflicted by the muzzle of a gun.
Oh, my God.
They also discovered a fresh bite mark on Sherri's arm, which would have, again, been inflicted by her killer during this struggle.
A bite mark. Oh, good. Dental fucking records.
Exactly. Sherri had been wearing her nightgown and a house robe when she was murdered. So, again, suggesting that she wasn't planning on leaving and that she probably had been attacked in the morning because she would have been dressed had it been later in the day.
Mm-hmm. Well.
Yeah, I know.
Didn't feel good,
Yeah,
but I get it. Okay.
This also suggests that she wasn't expecting any visitors either.
Yeah. This is another fucking unexpected drop-in.
Exactly, because there was no break-in or anything like that. Mm-hmm. The LAPD detectives quickly determined that this must have been a robbery that had gone wrong because it seems as though the robber had been in the process of stealing some electrical equipment when Sherri had discovered the intruder. That's what, like, the scene looked like.
Okay.
What's interesting about this robbery is that the only thing stolen from the condo was the couple's marriage license. And the only thing of real monetary value stolen from the whole incident was Sherri's BMW, which the police speculate was used as, like, a getaway car. So it's not like they're stealing it for money to rob. They're stealing it out of necessity to get the fuck out because they just killed somebody.
Yeah. So they stole a wedding license.
A marriage
license.
Weird. Weird thing for a random robber to steal, don't you think?
Yeah. Also,
what are you going to do with it? I don't know. Frame it? Fucking shoot at it?
And
throw darts? Who fucking knows?
if I broke into your home because I fucking hated the fact that you and Lee were together.
Married. Yeah. Would you even know where to look?
Not one
iota of an idea.
Not one fucking idea where I would begin to look for a marriage license.
They probably had safes or some shit, and she was like, open the safe. I'm guessing. Or maybe she was like, where's your marriage license?
But you got a lot to say. Where's your marriage license? Even worse, though. Like, where's your marriage license? You're not even married. Watch.
Yeah, I don't know what the big game plan was.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like it was well thought out.
Maybe she wanted it to, like, rip it in front. I'm speculating here. I'm guessing.
Spit on it.
That it's...
Spit on that thing.
that Stephanie is the one that has broken in here. So maybe she's like, oh, where's your marriage license? Like, I'm going to rip it up in front of her. Like a torture, kind of like, haha, I got him.
Yeah.
Type of
she
thing.
crosses out Sherri's name and puts her own.
Writes her own. Yeah. Fucking whiteouts it perfectly.
Fucking weird, man. Okay, so the getaway car was recovered a week later, but evidently there was no new evidence collected from it.
Except for fingerprints and stuff.
Well, I guess
But potentially blood.
I don't know.
Is the person, and I mean, I guess they could have been wearing gloves, but
Yeah. They didn't get any evidence from it. Like,
Yeah.
it was just her car.
wow.
They don't have any more information on who the killer could have been.
Mm-hmm.
Even though they were leaning towards robbery gone bad, the lead detective was still considering, like, other alternatives.
Mm-hmm.
And John...
On account of nothing was fucking taken.
Exactly. John was quickly ruled out as a suspect, and he had actually chose to move away from LA after Sherri's murder. So they, like, looked to him first, and they were like, quickly, like, it wasn't you, okay, whatever. And then he chooses to go live a different life. He's like, wow, that got real crazy back there, and he leaves.
There's absolutely no fucking way that he doesn't know that it was Stephanie, though,
There's
right?
no fucking way. So Sherri's parents made sure to mention Stephanie's harassment to the police.
Yeah. As did John, I'm hoping.
I
But
think
go
he
ahead.
mentioned it.
Mhm.
I think he mentioned it. Obviously not enough.
Yeah.
So they mentioned it to the police and made sure that the lead detective made note of it. But later, the lead detective will claim that he never had that discussion. Needless to say, the police never followed up with Stephanie about any of this, so
Oh my
she never
God.
gets questioned or anything. There had been a burglary that had just occurred, like, shortly before Sherri's murder in the same area. So then they really were clinging to this robbery theory. They were
Oh
like, there's
God.
somebody out here on the loose, and she just happened to be the next victim.
Ugh.
The lead detective's partner noted the bite marks and was kind of like, bite marks are usually inflicted by women, not men. And usually men do robberies and not women. So he was like, there's kind of some inconsistencies here with the theory.
Okay. Can you tell, like, if it's a bigger mouth or not? Like, is there a difference between a
don't know.
man's
Bite?
bite mark than a woman's?
It's all dainty. She's like, just a nibble.
Just a taste.
I've already had dinner. I'm full.
I couldn't possibly.
Not
Just
any-
one bite.
Okay, just one. I don't know. I guess not, because all they had was the bite mark. Like,
Yeah,
they didn't.
yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
They didn't know who did it or anything.
I'm not gonna run that shit through dental records.
Well, the only real evidence they had was the bite mark, and they collected DNA in hopes that they'd ID their killer one day, but they don't get any hits off of it or anything
Yeah.
like that. So, meanwhile, as time dragged on, the police become busy with everything else that LA has to offer to keep them busy with in terms of, like, fucking crime.
It's the 90s are coming up. You
Oh,
got the
yeah.
crack epidemic.
Oh
and
my
stuff.
God, all of that. So literally her case goes cold and nobody's looking at it because they're like, we're just trying to keep people fucking from killing each other
Yeah.
out here.
Like, that was a robbery. I don't know. LA's not safe.
Yeah, don't live here. It's
Yeah.
a terrible idea. Why would you keep coming here? It's awful.
I'm telling you guys to stop.
This is literally a cold case. Don't come over here. So Sherri's parents would call all the time asking for updates, and they found the LAPD to be very unhelpful and even dismissive. Because, like I said, they're going through all the shit, right?
Yeah, we got a lot to deal with.
Yeah. Her family put up a reward offer for anyone with information to step forward. Her father never fell for the burglary theory from the very beginning.
Mm-hmm.
He knew his daughter and knew her strength and what she was capable of, and he says that it would have taken, like, a ton of effort to subdue her. Like, it would have had to have been somebody in excellent physical condition as well, because she was so athletic.
But she had just hurt her back.
She did, but she was strong.
Mm-hmm.
And she had hurt her back bad enough to not want to go to work, but, like, she could have. So, like, I don't want to fight you, but I will for my life.
Yeah, for sure.
Also, the police told him that they believe the struggle happened for an hour and a half before she was killed.
Jesus
So he's
Christ.
like, there's no way somebody could have fought her for an hour and a half and kept up with her, and it just being like a random burglar.
Yeah, burglary. Like,
Yeah.
they would have tried to leave after 10 minutes.
Yeah, like they didn't come here to kill her.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah.
that person who stuck around for an hour and a half came there to kill her.
Yeah,
you know?
that's alone fucking questionable.
Enough evidence.
Yeah.
Also, the use of the quilt to muffle the shots, which were fired directly into her chest at close range, it all just seemed more like there was evidence to suggest a homicide rather than a robbery, right? So the dad's like, there's nothing you can sell me that will convince me otherwise.
Yeah, like,
And
you're wrong.
Yeah, and he keeps calling, and they're like, dismissive, whatever. And the case goes cold, and the lead detective retires. And as the years drag on, Sherri's father remained close to the case and close with the LAPD to keep his daughter's murder, like, at the top of their desks. Like, hey, man, it may be cold in your eyes, but I'm going to call you every fucking day until you give me an answer. Like, this is your fucking job, right?
Yeah.
Sherri's father even offered to pay to have the DNA evidence that they had taken to have it analyzed, because he was like, well, we have DNA, let's get it analyzed. And I guess the LAPD was like, we can only send it to be analyzed if we have an actual suspect. If we don't have a suspect, that we can't analyze it or some shit.
Why?
I don't
You
know.
can't just run it against CODIS
doesn't
or whatever?
sound real. It doesn't sound real, but they denied him. Like, we cannot do it. And so he was like, I will give you the money. And they're like, we still can't do it. And then a new detective gets to review the old case files. And he finds a note where John had reached out to the police later on and asked them to look into Stephanie Lazarus. Like, he does call back later and he's like, hey, I had issues with her. You need to check into her.
I just remembered I dipped my dick in crazy.
And she's also an officer and would know how to stage a scene and do all this shit, right?
Yeah.
Well, I guess they never followed up on that.
Oh my God.
Because she was still working for the LAPD at this time.
Mm-hmm.
Stephanie went on to open her own private investigation firm. In 1993, she was even promoted to detective. By the late 90s, DNA technology was way better.
Yeah.
So the LAPD started digging through old case files again and trying to solve them using DNA evidence.
Mm-hmm.
And it took till 2004 till someone came to Sherri's case, right? Because they were so backlogged.
2004.
Yeah. And when they went through the evidence, they discovered that much of the evidence, which would have contained DNA and stuff from the murderer, had been checked out by another detective in 1993, and it had never been checked back in. So all the evidence was missing. All the evidence was missing. Gone in the case.
Who checked
in 1993. How interesting. I guess, though, by a fucking stroke of luck, they still had the swab from the bite mark because that was at the coroner's office. Like, they swabbed it when she was on the table.
Mm-hmm.
And they were doing, like, the fucking
Mm-hmm.
autopsy or whatever. And they stored it there instead of putting it back into evidence.
Oh my God.
So they still have the one bite mark DNA swab. But that is all we have in evidence in this case anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who checked it out?
Basically, it turns out being somebody else that we don't know in this case checks it out. But I don't know why they check it out. There is...
Could have been someone wrote someone else's name.
It could have been, too, just evidence being moved from one location to another and, like, standard routine checkout or whatever. And then that particular evidence just didn't make it back in for a reason or another.
Mm-hmm.
So they have that swab, right? And so they run the DNA swab through CODIS, and they don't get any matches. But they did discover that the perpetrator was a female, which shocked everybody, the new detective and everything, because this whole time they thought they were looking for a male.
Mm-hmm.
And then they started not believing this burglary theory because now it's a female. And they're like, that's kind of weird. That doesn't match, right?
Yeah. Oh, every fucking thing is wrong. And all the things that people were saying to us, maybe we should have listened to. But okay.
Exactly. So now this new detective just so happens to be a she,
Ooh.
if we're keeping score.
We are.
She continues to review the case, and she discovers a note about a third-party female who had been harassing Sherri weeks before the murder. So the new detective is like, aha, a clue.
Yeah.
It was a female who was harassing her. It's female DNA. We're getting somewhere.
Yeah.
And so she brings this new info to her lead at, like, the fucking detective place. And he
HQ.
is very nonchalant about it all. And he even already knows about the other female. And he's just like kind of blows it off. Like, oh, you mean the other female that is like a LAPD officer? Yeah. We already know about her and it's nothing. Like, don't look into that anymore. It's fine. Whatever.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So
Yeah.
dismissive.
Yeah. Like, she has nothing to do with it. We've already looked into that. So just carry on.
But they hadn't.
And then he made her drop that lead and continue to pursue the burglary theory.
Oh no.
So the case went back into the cold case files. So, like, she almost had it.
Ah.
She almost fucking had it. And her lead was like, nah, we've already done that. For whatever reason. Either he really, truly believed they already did that, or maybe this is an inside job. I don't fucking know. But they brushed that off.
Mm-hmm.
In 2009, I guess crime in LA was slowing down. So detectives had some time to
On
review
a bit of a break.
Yeah, got a little break. We're in between pandemics or whatever. I don't know what the fuck's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And
2009, yeah, the recession is just,
we ain't got nothing to do today. So
Yeah.
they're like, hey, let's go back and look at these old case files,
Yeah.
the cold case files again. So they do. And now we have a new detective again looking at it. And since the DNA was female, they throw it out. And the whole theory about it being a burglary, they
Again.
throw out that idea. They're like, okay.
Is it a different lead this time?
Well, I think they're picking up where the other lady had to leave off. They're picking it up, and they're like, no, I really don't think this was a burglary. I think that something's up.
Yeah.
One of the key pieces of evidence to support the staged burglary theory was at the top of the stairs in the condo at the crime scene. The police found a bunch of video equipment, like VCR and like old record players and shit. Like, and they were all stacked, like at the top of the stairs, stacked as if somebody was like, I'm gonna take these. This is what I'm stealing, right?
I'm going to grab them next.
Exactly. Like, this is going to go in my car and come with me, which would support the theory, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, the police had mapped out the scene as the attack having started upstairs. and that they fought their way downstairs into the living room where Sherri was ultimately killed.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the stack of VCR record stuff, all that shit, was at the top of the stairs where if you had been wrestling with somebody, you would have run into it. Like, if you had been fighting for your life around the stairway or whatever, you would have knocked it over.
Like, that shit was put there after a struggle.
So it would have been put there after. But the whole theory is that
she interrupted them.
Exactly. While they were trying to
in
steal
the middle
it.
of it. Yeah.
Exactly.
When they had the stacks already made, allegedly.
Right. They also found a bloody thumb-shaped blood stain print, whatever, in the stack of the stuff.
Okay. Yeah. So the struggle had already happened.
The struggle that already happened. Yeah. Yeah. So, like, obviously, that's evidence to suggest that Sherri had been murdered and then that stuff had been stacked.
Yeah.
Because
100%.
it was Sherri's blood in the fingerprint. And the fingerprint was a gloved fingerprint. So it didn't have, like, actual prints or anything, but, like, it was a thumb shape.
Yeah.
So
someone hanging out after there was blood spilled.
Killer.
Yeah.
With gloves on.
Uh-huh.
Stacking stuff. Like, how's that blood going to get in the middle of your stacked shit before the murder?
Yeah.
Okay. Also, the crime was committed during the day in a gated community, and all of her jewelry and riches or whatever, they were all out in the open and nothing was ever taken.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's a gated community.
Yeah. So,
do they have records of everybody who came in and out that day?
I guess it wasn't that gated.
LAPD officer, one of them? What do you mean gated?
I don't know.
It either has a gate or it's not.
No, I have no idea. So they dig through the files and they start to make a list of female suspects and they whittle it down to 4 people.
Mm-hmm.
They are shocked to learn that a fellow LAPD officer is associated with the case as a potential suspect, right?
Yeah, clutch your pearls.
Because at this time, Stephanie is a full-on detective. Like, she is going up there. She's doing great things with her life. She's very admired in the LAPD world, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay? So, like, to see her name on here is like, whoo! That's questionable. That's kind of weird.
Yeah.
She'd been working art theft cases, and she had actually made the news recently because her and her partner had helped recover a stolen statue in Carthay Circle.
Okay.
I don't know where that is, but I guess it's like a fancy part of LA where they have fancy art out, and somebody took that shit. And she was like, not in my fucking jurisdiction, and she caught him, and the news people were like, that's so cool, let's hear about it, because they ain't got nothing else to report on.
Who's fucking stealing statues?
Stolen statues. I don't fucking know. Somebody in Carthay Circle.
It's an art heist. What is this, fucking GTA?
Yeah, I guess. Either way, these detectives actually put Stephanie at the end of the suspect list because they were like, there's no way.
Yeah, let's do the other ones first.
Yeah, exactly.
I get it. Like,
Yeah.
you're going to put it in order of importance. You're probably not like, the detective?
Yeah,
No, okay.
exactly. So they basically pick through all the suspects and they clear them one by one until they get down to Stephanie.
Mm-hmm.
And one other chick. There is 2 people left. And they test the DNA against this other chick who I guess was a coworker of Sherri's who had a dispute with her at one time. So she was like the only other person left other than Stephanie. And they test the DNA and it's not her DNA.
Why didn't they just take those 4 people and test the DNA against those 4 people?
I don't know.
It's only 4 people.
I think that's what they were doing. And they did like 1, 1, 1. And they literally are saving Stephanie for last.
So fucking stupid.
They start to look more at the case, and they notice that the bullet used to murder Sherri was spent from a .38 caliber, and that was
What, the police are fucking issued?
often the preferred backup gun for
Oh.
LAPD officers at the time.
Okay.
So it wasn't her actual officer gun, but like it was like what everybody had on the side, you know?
Yeah.
Like you got that Stanley cup? Got my state issued cup here, but what about that Stanley?
Got that old 38. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I use at home, too.
Exactly. So they check Stephanie's record and they see that she had owned a .38 caliber gun, but had reported it stolen 13 days after Sherri's murder.
Wow, that's convenient.
How convenient. However, when
She
she
found
went
it.
to go report it stolen, what?
I said she found it.
Yeah, no. When she went to go report it stolen, instead of reporting it at her fucking office, wherever the fuck she works,
Yeah.
she went to Santa Monica police and reported it stolen there.
Why?
Because she didn't know anybody there.
Yeah.
It's not like at her own station. And she didn't want to like raise any flags.
That feels like it raises its own flag.
Well, it does now, fucking 20 years later or whatever. You
Yeah.
know? But like in the moment, nobody put all the dots together.
Yeah, and if her name had popped up and then her gun was stolen, they'd be like, that's weird.
Yeah, I don't know if they would have put it together. I mean, I would like to think so, but Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
They're doing a rough job already. So the latest detectives are assuming that she threw the gun in the ocean near a popular tourist attraction, like the Santa Monica Pier or whatever, chucked it out there, and then goes and reports it missing. So no one is ever going to discover that gun.
Mm-hmm.
And
Some magnet fisher might.
maybe, but probably not. Like
Yeah.
that shit is the oceans now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so now all they have is literally just that DNA swab.
Mm-hmm.
They checked Stephanie's work records that show that she had been off the day that Sherri was murdered.
Uh-oh.
And any LAPD officer would know the bare minimum to do a staged scene to make it look like a burglary, and they would be smart enough to know not to use their own work gun. So they're like, okay, Stephanie's kind of hitting all the marks, you know? Like,
it's kind of looking more
like
suspicious.
She might have done this. Okay, so meanwhile, Sherri's dad is totally still like, hey, you guys, look at Stephanie. Like, go over here. So the detectives get approval to recover voluntarily discarded DNA, which didn't require a warrant.
Okay.
So they're like, hey, we want to check out Stephanie. And
Just
they
gonna follow
finally
her.
get the okay to check her DNA. So they were worried that if they had just served her outright for her DNA, that she would flee or get away or something. So they didn't want to give her a heads up. So they get a cup that she had thrown away because she was like drinking coffee or some shit. And they test the DNA, and it's a fucking match. Because we all know Stephanie did that shit.
Yeah. Shocking.
Yeah, and that bitch bit her. Like when they were fighting. She bit her.
That's crazy.
They fucking fought for an hour and a half. That's insane.
Rabid person.
Yeah. So now all over
Did
some
anyone
dude's
see
dick.
her the next day or anything? Like, was she fucking tore up
Beat
too?
up?
Yeah.
I don't know, but she was an officer, so I'm sure you could explain it away pretty easily.
Yeah, I guess. Like, oh, it was a perp.
That call was crazy back there.
Yeah.
So now they had to secretly come up with an arrest plan where very little people could know about what was actually going on because they don't want to tip her off.
Yeah,
And
she
she's
knows a lot of people.
fucking an inside person. Yeah. So they call her in and they ask her to come do an interview down at a station about some art theft that had happened. And they pick a station where when she enters, she's going to have to turn in her gun and her badge or whatever to get in. And they're doing this all strategically, right?
Yeah.
Because they don't know if anything's going to any violence is going to happen at arrest or anything like that.
They just found out that this lady was capable of murder, and they did not know that.
And now she's a full-on fucking detective. Like,
Yeah.
that's scary. You're dealing with somebody you need to be very aware of.
Bitch has got power.
Yeah. So as soon as she's in the interview room, they tell her instantly this isn't actually about art theft.
Hey, by the way, we found something.
Yeah, this is actually about some loose ends that they had to tie up on the Sherri murder case. And they chose to do it this way to keep the office gossip down because they didn't want to tarnish Stephanie's reputation. And really, it was more standard protocol. So they're playing along. They're like, listen, we hate to do this. We know you're not guilty. You know, let's just clear this all up real quick.
Yeah. This has all just been like a fucking big misunderstanding. We're just going to clear it up right here.
100%. And so Stephanie shoots the shit with him for a little bit, and they're very relaxed. And they're not talking about the Sherri case at all. They're talking about, like, other things. Like, this is not a standard interrogation. So they circle back around to the topic of Sherri, and Stephanie claims to have had a hard time recalling the details because it had been so long ago at this point, right?
Yeah, even though that's someone that you knew.
Yeah, you're going to remember that. Somebody you knew died?
Yeah.
I'd remember.
I'd remember.
I could tell you a lot of stuff about people, like what happened around the time that other people died.
Or like
I was texting so-and-so when this happened, and I heard that, you
just
know?
anybody that you knew at one point. I remember all the details of my high school teachers.
Yeah.
Murder. You know, like there's...
Yeah. I
You
don't know.
remember that.
Yeah.
But okay, sure. Maybe
okay,
she dealt with
sure.
a lot of murders because she's a detective.
Yeah, there's a lot. It could all be mixed up in there. But as they probed, she recalled more and more about her encounters with Sherri, and she answered their questions.
That.
Oh, yeah, that girl. Up until it became apparent that she was a suspect in the murder.
Yeah, and she's like, oh, hold on. Do I need a lawyer?
Yeah, uh-oh. So they mentioned that they may have DNA evidence, and they asked if she would be willing to give it a sample, and she declined.
Even though they were like, yeah, don't worry, we already got it.
They're like, we got it. We got you, bitch. But she was like, no, you ain't getting any of my DNA. And as she left the interrogation room and walked into the hallway, she was placed under arrest.
Fucking got her.
I know, they fucking got her. After her arrest, the police searched her home and car, and they found her old journal from the fucking 80s, her diary. Who keeps this shit?
Did she just carries around with her?
Well, it was in her house. Like, they searched her house and her car or whatever.
Oh, I thought it was in her car. Like, I'm just
her
driving
home
around with
and
this
car.
shit.
Yeah.
In case I need to fucking it out real quick.
Well, you should have done that fucking years ago.
Yeah.
Because they find it, and it has loads of entries about John and how much she hated Sherri and that he was choosing this other woman and all this other stuff.
God.
Yeah.
And it's all her fucking decline.
Uh-huh.
Mental decline.
There was no mention in that journal about anybody stealing her gun, which she had reported, right? Also, her computer history showed that she had searched the internet for John's name on several occasions, like over the years.
who doesn't delete their history that often?
I know.
Like,
we all know we all do it. We all search up those old people.
for sure, but like you
not
wouldn't
if you
know
murdered.
today that I
No.
search for them a month ago.
No,
you know, like
no way. Yeah.
that's crazy.
I don't even have the same computer from that long ago, though. So that is literally insane that she's still searching this fool. Like, that's creepy.
Yeah.
She's probably not finding him unless he's doing something with his life.
Fucking obsessed. Yeah, right? He got his LinkedIn profile with no picture.
I feel like it's
Okay.
like when Facebook started to be a thing, I like took my time to try to find everybody in my past, and then I was like, I don't know why I'm doing this, and half of them I don't know what they look like anymore, so I'm not sure if I'll ever find them.
Yeah, and you're like, is that them? I guess it could be.
Interesting.
That's where they're at now.
I don't know what I thought I was going to get out of this. I'm
No,
done here.
It's never anything.
Yeah, no. I mean, and if anybody searched us, they might find that we have a podcast.
Yeah.
That's probably it. They'd be like,
Hate
that,
you now.
that makes sense.
That makes sense. Yeah, they were fucking weird.
They did talk a lot. Okay, so, like I said, her journal, basically a confession without the words of like, I fucking did it.
Yeah.
Right?
Side note, really want to start a journal or like a diary, and then every single time they're like, and then she wrote in the diary, I'm like, fucking idiot.
Loser. Dude, for therapy, I've had to start journaling, which is very like vulnerable at first. I'm like,
Yeah.
first of all, I don't even know what these thoughts are. I'm scared to see what I'm going to write.
Yeah.
And then I don't want them to be there for everybody to read whenever. And so I just have this fucking notebook and I just look Lee in the eye and I'm like, you do not read this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Yeah, that was my next thought. Was if I ever did get it, I would hide it from Brandon and never do it in front of him ever.
I
Like,
have it sitting out on the kitchen counter now, and it scares me every day that somebody's going to open that thing and read it. And
Your
maybe
kid
Lee
can
has
read.
or would. I know. Well, my kids, they're not over there, so I sit there and I journal, and I usually go put it on my nightstand. But like, it's full access to anybody in this house. But
I
if
would
they
hide
read
that shit like a deep secret.
if they ever read it, they'd be like, Jesus Christ. And I'd be like, yeah, I know. That's why I'm in therapy.
It'd be like those, we found his manifesto. And you're like, fucking clean house.
Yeah. I got baked out of my mind and then just like wrote 8 pages of journal entry shit. And then I went back and reread that shit when I was sober and I was like, I'm so insightful. Like, but also like nobody read this.
Yeah, but like, that's kind of the ramblings. Like, I didn't see a single period here.
Yeah. Yeah. I really think I just solved world peace. Oh my
Blueprint
God.
right here.
Yeah, but I will, like, when that's full, I'm going to burn it. Like, I don't need to keep it.
Yeah.
It's literally just a way for me to write shit out so that I don't explode. And so I know what my feelings are.
Yeah.
Because the problem is I don't know what my feelings are.
Yeah.
I just freak out and then yell or cry or whatever.
And then they're
I'm
like, oh, you are stressed out and hungry.
yeah. And then I get it all out. And then I'm like, wow, that was so weird. I was so crazy back there. And I'm trying to not be crazy. And then as I write it out, I'm like, no fucking wonder I'm crazy. This is some crazy shit. Anyway, just describe what journaling's for. But this bitch did not throw her shit away.
Yeah, she was like, I'm gonna hold on to memories forever.
Yeah. So, okay, they search her computer history, right?
Yeah. Reminds me I should burn all those notes from high school.
Yeah. This bitch is like you
Honestly.
that be
That's what I'm
getting us
saying.
in trouble later.
That's what I'm saying.
Maybe we should have like a little party and we'll just burn them all.
That's why I haven't yet.
I don't know
like,
if I want to read them though.
I feel like we need to, like, no one else needs to be around. It's like a diary. Like,
Yeah.
you got to look at it one last time to be like, I'm so insightful.
Yeah.
And then burn it.
Oh, God.
Anyway, sorry.
Okay,
Founder
so she gets
diary.
arrested.
Yeah.
Her bail was set to $10 million because they did
Good.
not want her to make that bail.
Yeah. They're like, well, she knows how to get the fuck out of here if she does.
Yeah. During her trial, the prosecution argued that she murdered Sherri out of jealousy. John had to take the stand and admit that he had had sex with Stephanie while he was dating Sherri.
What a dick.
Yeah. Stephanie's defense just worked to break down the prosecution's DNA handling and everything. So to be like, the only way you know it's her is because of DNA.
And you were so fucking lackadaisical with
yeah,
it before.
like all the evidence is missing. This was in the coroner's office for how long? Was it stored right? Do we know? Blah, 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 right? So that's her plan. It's just to attack the evidence.
Pretty fucking convenient, though, that it came back negative against other people and then positive against
Very
you.
convenient. Very convenient. They also were arguing about the guns, like, oh, everybody had 38 caliber, not just her. So they're just trying to poke holes in the prosecution's case, but they really don't have much to stand on. And the trial took place in 2012 and only took 2 days. And then deliberations took several more days until the jury found Stephanie Lazarus guilty of first-degree murder, and she was now 52 years old. So she lived a whole fucking life out there
Wow.
for 20 years, something? I don't know. She received 27 years to life and is serving it at the California Institution for Women in Corona, California.
Mm-hmm.
She was up for parole in November of 2003 and was recommended for parole, but Governor Newsom asked for a review of her grant. And so
2000 when?
2003. So like just last year.
23.
2023.
Got it. I was like,
I'm
that was
sorry.
a long time ago.
Yeah, I'm sorry. My mind is gone.
That's all right.
Yeah.
That's what I thought you meant, but I just wanted to make sure.
2023 November.
Okay,
She
wow.
was recommended for parole. but-
Recommended or like up for parole?
Like she was up for parole and recommended. They were like,
Wow.
I think she should get it. And the
Wow.
governor was like, I think we should review that because that's questionable. Like, I
Yeah.
don't know if I want her out there.
yeah.
And
Bitch
that's
lived a whole fucking life with.
yeah, like she doesn't need to be getting out
No.
already. And so her parole is under review as of now. As of May of this year, 2024, it was under review. So I don't know where we're at now because now it's like July.
Yeah.
And I couldn't find anything more. But yeah, she's trying to get out.
Wow. Could you imagine?
I could not. It came out in trial that records show that shortly after Sherri's dad had offered to pay to have the DNA analyzed, a detective named Phil Morrill checked out all the evidence in the case, which would have been the routine transferring of like records or whatever, you know, but it never came back. So the bite mark is the only thing that survived. So I kind of already said this earlier, but I must have found that at the end of my investigation.
Mm-hmm.
But it was another officer that checked it out. It sounds like it was routine moving, but like it could be very convenient that you just lose all the evidence in that case. And also, can we just not move evidence rooms anymore? Because so many cases we're losing evidence.
Yeah, right? Like, there needs to be a better system for that or something. Or, like, an evidence fucking house.
Yeah, like put all the boxes in this truck. Let's drive this truck to that house and take out all the boxes and put them in this room.
Yeah,
And then let's check them against this list of shit we checked out to make sure that we checked it all back in.
it doesn't seem like it'd be that hard.
It's because they're fucking men, you know?
Well, it's either they're men or they don't
Sorry.
care or, like, what if
They're not
it
getting
was
paid
on
enough. I don't know.
purpose, you know?
I kind of suspect that maybe it was. Like, maybe she knew somebody, and maybe she
Maybe-
was just like, hey, on that case, if it doesn't make it back in, you'd be doing me a solid, and then she does him a solid somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That'd
Yeah.
be super fucked up.
Yeah, crazy.
Well, good for her. I'm glad she's in prison.
Yeah, but hopefully we don't know how much longer.
Yeah, hopefully she stays in prison. But also, there is a little tiny silver lining of, like, since she was a detective, maybe she solved some kind of things and, like, made the world better in her time
Yeah.
that she was still serving.
Maybe.
Not that that means anything, but,
I
like,
wonder if John's ever tried to reach out to her.
he probably Googles her all the time, too.
Oh, no.
Do you
What if
think
they
they're
were
pen
meant for
pals?
each other? I don't know. That'd be so rude. That'd be so disrespectful.
Disrespectful. Yeah, I'd haunt the fuck out of him.
Oh, hell yeah.
Ugh.
I'd knock his waters over all the time.
Right?
Like a cat.
Motherfucker's never gonna be hydrated again.
Yeah. On the edge of a fucking table. Whoop, whoop. On the ground, bitch.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah. So if you guys want to check out pictures pertaining to my case, go to our social media. We're on Instagram, Facebook, X, TikTok. Our handle is at ISGD Podcast. You can email us at isgdpodcast@gmail.com or you can snail mail us at
P.O. Box 2764, Spring Valley, California, 91979.
9. Please go subscribe, rate, and review us and so other people can know that we're good and that we'll shoot to the top of some lists and be suggested to people to listen to. And then you'll have more goddamn fam to hang out with.
Please.
See, you have a vested interest as well. Also, if you want to support your favorite podcast hosts, you can do that on Patreon. We have Patreon tiers available for you where you get access to extra content for as little as $1.
Mm-hmm.
And when you sign up, you get all the back content too. So we ain't hoarding shit from you. We just want a little bit of your money so we can keep this thing running.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And we love you guys.
Bye.
Bye.